The regular season is over, and in its place, the 5 most intense races of 2023 in the Integrity Ignite Series. Not only the 2023 B-Clash kicks off tonight, but only 5 races remain to crown our season-long champion and our year-long champion at the same time. $2,000 sim rig, courtesy of Next Level Racing, on the line for the driver who comes home with that grand prize at the end of the campaign. And as it stands, qualifying on the move for the Bluegrass 200, the very first race of the 2023 B-Clash Series run. 5 races will decide who come home with the championship tonight, and as we did last season, color indicators have returned on your screen. For tonight's event, if a driver is registered with an orange color on their timing information, be it of course on the name or in terms of what you see on the timing ticker, then they are part of the clash, and as a result, they are still fighting for the championship. 16 drivers come in tonight still eligible, which will be cut down to 8 for the final round of the season. 5 races, and we'll have an elimination round very soon before we get to that all-important championship night. Cody Smith right now finds himself on the pole position. He won at Kentucky in the Octane Series, looking to go 2 for 2 here in the Bluegrass State. Great to have you all watching live again on FTN. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast here, David Kreutz, commentating and producing as FTN's on for a doubleheader, the Schumacher Racing League on at the same time. So 2 great broadcasts going to be brought to you by FTN. This one got a lot of weight to it in the championship race. I know over there in the Schumacher Racing League, they're wrapping up their championship quest as well, so keep that in mind as the race goes on here tonight. Justin Morton going to be on the qualifying charts. He's getting himself on for the very first time for his first qualifying lap. Boomer Logan also going to be on the move, and now Brandon Bernhardt also there as well. 6 minutes and 36 seconds remain for all drivers to take a time. Bernhardt's going to get very loose that time through. He's only got 1 more lap to attempt, as it looks like he'll back it down and bring it to pit road, while Logan and Justin Morton go for a hot lap time. Jonathan Gearvon, Adam Wood, Fortis Smith, Brian McLaren, and it looks like Gael Brooks have not taken a time. And in the case Gael Brooks, it looks like there's already been an attempt for 2 fast laps. Did not work out. Now, Boomer Logan's going to be on his second and last this time by. The quickest attempt he has is going to be most likely here if he doesn't hit the wall. And just like that, Boomer's qualifying run comes to a close. And he's going to beat and bang down to the bottom. Brandon Bernhardt going to be back away. He's the only driver taking a time right now, save for Justin Morton. Morton just got back on the circuit, and Justin's going to take his first qualifying lap up to 8th on the board. Brandon Bernhardt at the line is going to have a 41.429, so that's not going to count for nothing, but this time through, it's going to be the most important lap of them all. This time by going at the speed of 168 miles an hour into the back straightaway and rushes down at over 180 miles an hour before letting off once again. The horsepower here in these Xfinity Series machines, without much downforce, allows for a big back and forth relationship as the race goes on. You'll see the middle groove all the way up to the top this time by. Bernhardt drops to the apron, and at the stripe, Brandon is going to be able to go up into the 14th spot. Brandon Bernhardt 14th quickest as he comes across the stripe. Adam Wood now getting on the way. Boomer Logan qualifying 19th. Justin Morton, already a race winner this season, goes up to 5th place. Alec Daffin, your pole sitter, by 44 1,000ths of a second as they come through this time by. Less than 5 minutes remaining for Adam Wood to get back on the way. Haven't seen all too much of Adam Wood all throughout this season. As a matter of fact, his 2023 B debut, and able to make it in as the 26th driver registered on the night. Adam Wood going to rush it back down to pit road this time by. Looks like he's going to back it down. Got that extra experience, and now Brandon Bernhardt makes it a pit road as well. So pit road going to get busy just a bit before we get our final qualifying laps in. Adam Wood set to go back on the way as his Ford Mustang number 45 heads down to pit road, gets that expertise, and is now, all likelihood, going to go back out there for 2 qualifying laps. As we wait for just that, 4 minutes and 10 seconds left on the timing sheets, Alec Daffin takes the fastest time by 44 1,000ths of a second. And just like that, good majority of your drivers have taken times as well. Waiting on Jonathan Gearvon, Adam Wood, Fortis Smith, and Brian McFerrin, with Gael Brooks already taking every attempt he had. And right now, Wood going to be on pit road, waiting for the time being. Less than 4 minutes remaining for Adam to get a time in. He gets that first run, then opts to back it down to pit road. not much else is going to come of it right now for the wood machine as Adam opts to drop it down to pit road and stay there. With that in mind, we got a bit more race information to run through. 140 laps on tonight's event, the very first race of the 2023 B Clash. And as we mentioned, drivers who are marked in orange tonight are eligible for the championship. So if they're marked in red, they are championship spoilers, and they're fighting not for a title, but instead fighting for race victories, high finishes, leading laps. They've got their own intentions, but they will not be eligible for the season-ending prize when all is said and done here. When it comes down to the 2023 B Tour, playoff points not going to be on the table right now because they're not in the playoffs. So red drivers are not inside of the Clash system. Orange drivers still have a fighting chance as 2 minutes and 53 seconds remain. In all likelihood, right now, we're not going to see any other qualifying time. So with that being said, no driver opting to go. We'll run through your qualifying numbers as it looks like multiple drivers opting not to take a time at all. Pit road going to see Adam Wood, but over 20 drivers have taken a lap this time around. Nobody else going to choose to do so, but the majority of the field has that experience and knows exactly what they want out of the car. Some of them got it, some of them not so much. So how about we take a look right now and find out who's starting where in the very first race of the 2023 B Clash run. Without further ado, this is the starting grid for the Bluegrass 200, and Kentucky Speedway plays host to our Clash opener here in the second ever Integrity Ignite Series season. And just like that, you'll see at the top of your board, Alec Daffin going to be on the pole position with a 30.572, and Daffin going to be there in first with just a few hundredths of a second to spare with Cody Smith, position number 2. It's going to be Cody Smith second with a 30.616, 100th of a second behind. It's going to be Thomas Bresci with 30.626, and 3/1000ths of a second is back. Well, last time we had ourselves a Clash opener, it was Rob Ackley who came home with the win, looking to get that playoff magic in once again. Ackley's once again inside the Clash as well, and he finds himself fourth, just ahead of Justin Morton, who's starting to round out the top 5 in his number 9 Supra. Blake Gordon going to be 6th place in number 13, his very first Clash berth after a part-time inaugural season. 30.651 puts him there in 6th, with Matthew Thunworth 7th, 30.657. From then on out, you'll see Nick Tarbuck going to be the very first of the playoff spoilers. 9 drivers in your top 10 are championship eligible. Goes to show how stacked the field is in terms of title contenders. Michael Stroll going to be 9th place on a 30.705, puts him there 1/10 of a second back. It is Chad Mikus, number 25 machine there, rounding out the top 10 with a 30.82 in that number 25 team. Domination Intimidation Racing has 3 drivers inside the top 10. Then you'll look to see Tyler Hensley, the 11th, with a 30.827, and Jacob Fife rounds out the top dozen, 30.865. Kyle Cooper is going to be 13th with an 18-second lap, not in the slightest. It's a 30.868. Brandon Bernhardt going to be 14th, and Alan Dobbs then rounds out the top 15. Going to be Casey Shue in 16th, and Shane Ewing then in 17th, with Alan Arawell 18th, Boomer Logan 19th, the first driver under 31 seconds. Well, after it, it's going to be Don Stevenson rounding out the top 20 with 31.269. Going to be Andrew Schaub taking the final time lap here in qualifying with a 31.541, and then from there, drivers, several of which have not chosen to take a time. Gael Brooks, Brian McFerrin, Forrest Smith, Jonathan Giron, and Adam Wood all opting to take automatically assigned starting positions as qualifying has concluded, and this will round out the grid here in Kentucky. Welcome to the Bluegrass 200. And now with the grid away from us, you'll see multiple drivers get the randomly assigned qualifying position, and just like that, onto our 5-minute warm-up run before the race gets on its way. Now, as it stands, Kentucky going to be a bit more dim, partly cloudy skies, so not going to be all sunshine tonight, and you'll see slowly but surely the sun is dimming on the track as Adam Wood opts to get on the way. He did not take a qualifying time, however, he's here for second practice and going to try to start at the back of the field, build up experience as the night goes on, and not interfere with their championship leaders as the number 45 machine gets on the move. So does Matthew Thunhorst. Multiple championship contenders all going to get on the way here as second practice has only just begun. And Justin Morton at the line, going to be the first of which to get a lap going. And number 9 machine going to be on the move at a speed of 183 miles an hour all the way down to about 169 into turns 1 and 2. Runs it down the back straight. He's chasing now Alan Dobbs. And Dobbs going to be on his way, getting very slow on the high side. Alan going to have some trouble there, scraping the wall once or twice, but keeps it in the throttle all the way. Alan Dobbs at the line, going to be chased down by Morton, but still sets that time. 31.649, only to be outdone, as it's going to be a Justin Morton 30.698, nearly a full second faster. Just like that, it's going to be Justin Morton top of the board, and not too far behind, Kyle Cooper going to make it down in number 73 machine. A brand new look for Kyle Cooper, and his Burger King number 73 drops into pit road. Chance 3 Design Auto Shop making that one, and it's a beautiful paint scheme as the Burger King 73 machine rolls in. Over the Wop takes it down to pit road for a pit stop. And you're going to see now it's Casey Shue with trouble spinning around. Gael Brooks also on the way. Full 5 minutes of coverage of warm-up here, because now these moments matter too. If you can find any last adjustments that give you a lasting advantage, maybe there's something inside the car you haven't really thought of just yet. These are fixed setups for every car, no matter its manufacturer, Chevy, a Ford, or Toyota. However, iRacing still allows for some freedom in how you choose to have the car drive. Steering ratio, it is the brake bias also in play, not to mention your own iRacing control settings going to come into play as well. And now drivers get a chance to, for the last time, edit what they've got, make some final changes, and apply them for the rest of the day. Looks to be a day-to-night event here in terms of how we're going to race at Kentucky. With the sun already setting, it's going to be night skies when it all is said and done. Nashville SuperSpeedway was a similar race. We had the sun going down as the night progressed, which led to a chaotic finish. And when all came through at Nashville, we had ourselves a barn burner of a show, going down to 1,000th of a second between Nick Tarbuck and Cody Smith. So even if Kentucky isn't as exciting tonight, it's still a very thrilling track, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more of the same. Known for many close photo finishes in the most recent years of its competition, and with 1 minute and 52 seconds left on the board, still counting down, Morton is going to be second only to Alan Dobbs so far in terms of our second practice top speeds. Justin Morton going to make it across the line this time by, and you'll see he's still there just behind Alan Dobbs, 1/10 of a second separating your top two. Then going to be Thomas Bressi scoring third, and Matthew Thunhorst position number 4. Adam Wood going to put in a very good run there. That's going to be his fastest lap, a 30.833, puts him in the 4th place right now, right behind Bressi, right ahead of Matthew Thunhorst. So it looks like all of a sudden Adam Wood's got himself some speed. The NOS Energy Drink 45, haven't seen all too much of it in the past half year, but it's back in action and back with a vengeance. Very quick as it stands right now, and Adam Wood's going to keep it that way as he comes across the line. Stripe once again. That's going to be his 6th completed lap, onto his 7th right now. So Wood taking advantage of the opportunity he's got right now, and many drivers took a lot of laps in first practice. I believe Michael Stroll took over 105. However, here in second practice, a lot of drivers opt not to take time, seeing that such a small amount of time, such a small window, you can't really make any permanent changes. That makes sense. However, as you see the track conditions continuing to shift, these might be the most relevant changes you can make before the race goes on. It was a bit sunnier earlier in Kentucky before the race got going, and now with track conditions changing faster and faster, this is more representative of what we'll see at least for the next first, I'll say 50, 60, maybe even 70 laps. 70 of 140 after all, halfway going to be lap 70 in tonight's race. Jonathan Gearvon going to be down there, 15th place on the timing sheet, and Alan Dobbs is going to be all the way up. Dobbs down to pit road now, but he's the fastest man in second practice. Alan Dobbs, quickest driver in warm-up. And just like that, with Dobbs, the fastest man in our second practice, we are on now to our race session. The grid is empty, the drivers are set to populated, and as we come through, Dobbs, like many of his championship contemporaries, all these competitors make it on the grid, and they're set to lock and load one final time before we get things going. iRacing official pace car sees a familiar face up in front in Cody Smith, very good with qualifying all season long and nearly getting it done in a race here in the Ignite Series. However, came just a few pixels short, and that was the make or break moment for Cody Smith there, and Alec Daffin's going to be your pole sitter tonight. Daffin desperately needs it. When it comes to the 16 drivers that pointed their way in, Daffin was the last of which, and was able to barely squeak through, and even though he looks much better in terms of the point standings based on our reset of the tabulation, he still has a ways to go to lock himself in as a true championship contender, making a few reckless mistakes throughout the season, costing himself many chances at a good race, and now trying to rebound from those issues, and the worries of the past will lead to more security in the future. That's the hope for Daffin as the field gets set to go once again, going to be the iRacing official pace car ahead of the grid as they get rolling for the first time tonight. And with Daffin leading the field off this time by into turns 1 and 2 they'll go. Daffin rolls through first, takes them all with him. You'll see Tarbuck, Michael Stroll, not to mention Chad Mikas, Tyler Hensley, and Jacob Fife all coming through this time by, and the exit of pit road is busy once again. Kentucky tends to come alive. A lot of drivers and a lot of fans as of recent have been a little more negative toward the circuit, but here in iRacing with the most accurate laser scan of the track, I'll tell you this much, it's been a thriller, especially in the integrity racing. Expect high speeds over 185 miles an hour, but a lot of braking to keep in mind. These stock cars are not flat out at intermediates. You're going to see a lot of letting off throttle time, even through with the braking zones, and we'll see drivers with a range of about 35 or 40 miles an hour throughout the entirety of a lap. With that being said, going to be 140 laps to get through, and for Shaw Racing's number 48, Alec Daffin needs to get one done in the long haul and maybe lock himself into the round of 8 with more to come in mind for Shaw Racing's flagship man here in integrity. Daffin and Next Level Racing's own and Cody Smith line up on the front row, and as the iRacing official pace car drops in for the first time tonight, time to let Alec Daffin lead the field to the green for the first time in the clash in 2023B. Let's get the championship chase on the move. Green flags out in the Bluegrass 200. As the field goes by for the first time, it's going to be now Alec Daffin fighting deep with Thomas Bressi for the race lead. Daffin's going to have it up in front that time by, but it's going to be Bressi not too far back now. Go down to the inside line and making a move. Lunging deep, Thomas Bressi takes the race lead. Now it's going to be Daffin in second and Cody Smith, while hitting the wall, still there in the podium, trying to make a move right down low to maybe make something happen to get inside of the top 2. Early going, a few drivers not going to make it. Andrew Schaub going to be 25th and final driver on the track right now, so Bressi leads the way, advantageous right now by just under a tenth and a half as the sun beams through turns 1 and 2. We're expecting, of course, a lot of track conditions to change as this race goes on. That's going to be one thing of particular note for a guy like Thomas Bressi or Cody Smith. The guys who are fast right now, odds are they might not be as quick when the racing comes to a close at about 135 laps time. If you're fastest right now, most often you are not fastest when the sun sets. So the drivers right now have to understand what they can do to stay as quick when the sun goes down, and understand how they can adapt from these conditions that favor them, at least for the time being, to the most important conditions, those when the sun finally begins to drop and the stadium lights begin to shine. Right now, 4 laps in, though, single file for the most part. Jacob Fife going to be right up top on Nick Tarbuck, and it's going to be Chad Mikas right there too. Playoff spoilers are going to be fading back just a bit more. Daffin, Smith, Bressie, that's from third to first. They're all up there in front of the field. And your first playoff spoiler right now is Tyler Hensley. Hensley going to be the 9th place as it stands. And Tyler finds himself there running just within the top 10's confines. 9 of 10 drivers right now in the top 10 are marked in orange. Then you're going to see 12th, 13th, and 14th are Clash drivers. And from there on out, Don Stevenson struggling in 20th is a Clash driver as well. But it's going to be Gael Brooks struggling the most in 22nd of the 25 drivers on the track right now. Gael Brooks has a ways to go if he wants to keep it competitive as the night progresses. So this time by 6 laps in a 140. Cody Smith goes right up top, looking for something there, but can't find much of it. Justin Morton, you're going to be able to slot into third. Rob Ackley finds himself now in 5th, and drivers making moves already, setting themselves up for the long haul. Alec Daffin goes way down to the bottom, has a move made. It looks like Thomas Bressie's going to have to stick it up top. At the line, advantage is slight, but it's going to go to Alec Daffin as they come through turns 1 and 2. He'll lunge it in, and having that inside of the corner with the grip strip will help him quite a lot. Seeing the darker part of the concrete, or rather the pavement here, as they go through 1 and 2. Alec Daffin able to ride that strip of tire. Of course, his tires riding the strip of pavement, and vice versa, eventually leading him to having that advantage into turns 3 and 4, where he's able to run away and now have a 2-10 edge. Bressie going to be 2nd, Justin Morton then in 3rd, and Cody Smith going to be 4th, with Rob Ackley 5th, Matthew Thunhorst in 6th, and Blake Gordon 7th, Michael Stroll position number 8, and Jacob Fife right now in 9th. That's going to drop Tyler Hensley down to 10th, but the battle ain't over. Fife has a spot, but doesn't have it secure until now. Hensley going to drop back, and it's going to be Chad Mikas up top. Number 25 is she trying to stick it on the high side as well. Already some waves being made as the playoff drivers already lead the field. It's an all-Clash top 10 at the line for lap number 9 here on FTN. And as always, FTN lap 9 provided to you by Tango Paints, the highest quality iRacing paint scheme and livery designer on the market. For paint schemes you can't beat with a price you can't beat as well. Check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information, spelled exactly how you see it on the top right of your screen. Total over the entire Tango Paints team have been creating fantastic iRacing liveries and paint schemes since 2021. Trusted work with trusted clients. Check out TangoPaints.com on Twitter for more information, and we'll bring you back after a brief promotional break, courtesy of our friends at Tango Paints. Making our way into the double digits for the first time tonight, Alec Daffin leads the way by 0.6 of a second, and Thomas Bressie now going to be 2nd, fading back as the caution flies for the first time. Now trouble in the middle of the field, and it's a big trouble smoke show. Multiple drivers involved. Dobbs has his hood rolling away. It's Mikas, it's Michael Stroll, and the caution will fly 11 laps in at 140. Yellow flag is out. We're going to find out why. A huge wreck and some playoff implications already. The Clash might change as the yellow flag flies for the first time tonight. Take an instant replay now and find out just what happened here in Kentucky for the first yellow. And you're going to see it there. Michael Stroll going to get collected. We'll take it back a bit more to see what really caused it. And the instant replay will go to show you Michael Stroll is destroyed. Here's the instant replay one more time. Going through the apron. Blake Gordon hits Stroll. Takes also Justin Morton, Chad Mikas, Alan Dobbs. Going to be a minefield for drivers to avoid, and luckily a few guys may be able to make it out, but it's going to take out many contenders here, and there's going to be motors blown, going to be substantial damage, and just like that, multiple contenders might have their night taken away from them within the first 25 laps. Yellow flag is out as drivers like Shane Ewing and Kyle Cooper got away. Juggernauts like Michael Stroll and Justin Morton, not so much. Mikas is still limping around. He's got some damage, not to mention Andrew Schaub is still going. Alan Dobbs had his hood cartwheel away from him, but it looks like it's magically back on the car, so damage going to be already a prominent factor in the middle to the back of the field, and the caution flies. It's Alec Daffin leading from Bressie, Smith, and Rob Ackley. Yellow flag out first time tonight, and we are going to be under pacing as yellow flag brings multiple drivers down to pit road. Fife leads the front runners who opt to take it in. It's going to be Nick Tarba coming in, not to mention you'll see Forrest Smith stays out. Most of your field, honestly, from 5th on back, just to go in. We now only have 8 drivers remaining on the track. For Smith in 8th, Casey Shue 7th, Shane Ewing is going to be 6th, and then your top 5, which has Thunhorst 5th, Rob Ackley in 4th, then it's going to be Cody Smith in 3rd, Thomas Bressi 2nd, and Alec Daffin as the race leader. So going to be a big gamble right now for a lot of drivers who are going to come in, and at the same time going to change it up for the guys who opted to stay out here. 13-lap run, not long. However, tire wear already coming into play, so I do believe this could be the most important part of the strategy when everything begins to change and drivers try different things. Now we'll see how much we can get out of the guys like Daffin and Bressi who stay out on the track. Would be best for guys now like pit road winner Nick Tarbuck or Boomer Logan. Are they going to be fast enough to claw through the field, lead some laps, or is it going to be best to stay on the old tire right now as the track continues to cool down with less of the sun's light in the way of the field? So we'll find out whether or not that's the right call in a few laps time. 13 laps in, a baker's dozen through so far, and Alec Daffin leads from Bressi in 2nd, Cody Smith 3rd, and Rob Ackley then in 4th. Green flag, and he's set to fly at the end of lap 15 the way things are looking. And Daffin takes us down to the start-finish line this time around. After a pit cycle, he's going to go drifting up to the middle of the track, opts to stay there. And just like that, 1 lap to green. Shoes rule going to be in effect, and Daffin goes high, Bressi down low, and Rob Ackley now going to be going to the bottom side as Cody Smith up to go right up top. Multiple drivers coming to the play, and you'll see side-by-side, 2x2 action. They'll be set to go as double file racing in just a lap's time. It's Alec Daffin leading over Thomas Bressi, Cody Smith, Rob Ackley, Matthew Thunhorst, and Shane Ewing. That's the way they stack up. So far, so good. 14 laps in, out of 140, Michael Stroll, Justin Morton, both still on pit road, with Morton having some damage and Michael Stroll even more so, and you can see it there for Michael Stroll in particular. And it's going to be bad news for the both of them if they want any chance to maybe fight for the championship. It could all be wiped away tonight. Bonus points will save them going into our next round of action, but it's still very tricky hole to dig yourself out of. As the field flies by one more time under pacing, now we'll get back on our way, hopefully for a longer green flag run. It's going to be a short run of about 10 odd laps that bring us back to the yellow flag. Big involvement with Michael Stroll, getting involved with Justin Morton and Blake Gordon, getting Alan Dobbs a piece as well. You saw multiple drivers still on pit road. Hopefully now we'll keep it clean and keep it green. Coming out of the pit road this time by the pace car leaves the pack in. Daffin, Bressi lead us through once again. Green flags out for restart number 1 tonight, led by Alec Daffin. Daffin gets the jump that time through, not too far behind. Thomas Bressi is going to be with Rob Ackley now in 3rd. Cody Smith side by side then with Matthew Thunhorst. 15 laps into the 140. Drivers going to be bunched up, but no trouble this time by as they'll make it down at the start-finish line, hoping to keep things cleaner after that initial start. Justin Morton already could disconnect after that issue, so he's going to be 5 laps down and out of luck tonight. Michael Stroll may be soon to follow as his night's going to end very quickly after that early race incident. Thomas Bressi going to be side by side there with Rob Ackley. Now it's going to be Ackley way down low. And as we mentioned, Rob Ackley, one of those clutch drivers who gets things done when they need to be. And the 22 machine finds himself there. Bottom side, Cody Smith up top, as he was the first driver to win in the Clash's history last season and the first ever Integrity Ignite Series winner. Ackley looking to make some more historical markers and maybe get it done for 2 seasons in a row, winning the Clash opener as a Clash driver. Now, Ackley's championship ride came off the rails after a huge wreck at Pocono took out almost the entirety of the Clash, save for DJ Stagg. DJs was able to run away and get that championship, played it all perfect and got it done at Charlotte. Now for Ackley, he's hoping to try to get it done once again. This time, though, not having it derail on him would be the best of circumstances. 5 races to get it done. It's the first of which, run good here, maybe even win, and you'll have yourself a round to spare, less worry, and then you'll take it to the final few tracks and put in your best effort there, and maybe, just maybe, come home with a championship. Now the back straightaway going to be nearly fully single file as Alec Daffin leads the field, Bresci going to be second, Ackley third, and Cody Smith fourth, rounding out your top five as it stands. Matthew Thunhorst, Shane Ewing going to be sixth, and Nick Tarbuck then in seventh. Look further back right now, you'll see a bit of side-by-side development with Adam Wood right there on Brandon Bernhardt. It's going to be Wood dropping way down low, and for Adam Wood, he started the back of the field in the rear entirely. Decided not to take a qualifying lap, started outside the top 20, and all of a sudden finds himself within the confines of the top 10. He's in 12th place right now, getting closer and closer to really securing that top 10 spot. And I'll tell you this much, the 45 machine is not done yet. Goes up top, going to try to get there with Boomer Logan and Brandon Bernhardt. Bernhardt's had a little more pressure in the past few laps, and Adam Wood not going to spare it on anyone as the 45 takes it high, looks for the spot, and now has himself a run on that higher end. Look further up right now, single file for the most part. Shane Ewing's going to be running in sixth, and as it stands, he's the highest running of the playoff spoilers marked in red on your timing and scoring screen. Take a look at the Rayovac number 32, running currently inside of the top 10. And 20 laps in of any driver who is currently not inside of the championship picture. He is the man who leads that group. So right now, not at all a bad start to the day for Shane, who's been running a part-time campaign all throughout 2023. Usually quick and usually quiet, so as he gets things done once again, executing on all fronts, it's Shane Ewing trying to make things happen for his first win of the year, shortly after Nick Tarbuck broke through and got it done just a few nights ago. Forrest Smith's going to be 8th right now, not to mention Casey Shue is going to be 9th, and Boomer Logan is still holding on to 10th, but Adam Wood now finds himself facing pressure as Stevenson takes it down low, and John's making time at the line, takes it right by Brandon Bernhardt for 11th, has the opportunity to lunge in, he will take it. Don finds himself now just one spot away from your top 10 as he's chasing down Boomer Logan. Boomer holding on well for the 10th spot. But some troubles already for a few of these guys. You'll see some numbers and some drivers making some changes in terms of their position we were not quite expecting. For Boomer Logan, starting outside the top 15, making it up into the top 10 quite quickly. He's been able to benefit from the chaos and find himself in a better strategy than before. He finds himself, as it stands, with newer tires, though, and struggling just a bit as he's going to get passed by Don Steven on a newer set of rubber. Don Stevenson, on a 9-lap-old set, finds himself now in the 10th spot and chases down ahead of him 8 of the 9 drivers inside the top 10. Of course, it's going to be top 9, top 10 included. It'll be 8 of the 10. It is on old rubber, so most of these guys opt to stay in the old stint for now. It's working out quite well for Alec Daffin. Once again, 7/10 of a second lead, and Thomas Bresci is going to be out of sight for the most part. 24 laps in, and that number 24 Chevrolet is keeping the rest of the field at bay for your race leading man. It's going to be Rob Ackley 3rd, Cody Smith 4th, and Matthew Thunhorst then in 5th. Side by side, they'll slide low once again. Matthew Thunhorst tries to take it on Cody this time through, and with Cody Smith having to opt to run up top, nothing more than he can really do about this one, and Matthew takes it down to the bottom, trying to make it stick right down low. 24 laps in of 140. Driver's going to be slowly but surely amping up the pressure. And you see now Boomer Logan, you have Adam Wood right on his high side. Wood's making time. And now Adam looks for another spot, which will solidify 11th for him once again. Boomer Logan, not much more he can do with a little momentum off the corner. That's going to let Adam Wood by, and as Adam makes it through, 25 laps in of 140, another driver makes time, makes it right by. Boomer Logan drops back just a bit more, and Alan Dobbs is going to be 14th with Tyler Hensley, then 15th. And the lights are slowly but surely continuing to dim here in Kentucky. You might have seen a bit of a shift in how iRacing's lighting is looking. Less of a shadow overall, just casting it from the back bumper of the car. Overall, the angle of the shadow not going to be as prominent, as slowly but surely we're going to see the sun entirely dissipate, and the stadium lights are within the next 25 laps going to turn on. So it's going to change the look of this track and change the feel of the track as well. Alec Daffin right now wouldn't like for anything to change. Daffin, who won the Saturday Night Truck Series last season at Kentucky, he's now 27 laps in, ahead by 1 full second. And he's got that marker ahead of Bresci, Ackley, Cody Smith, and Don Stevenson, a top 5 jumbled up behind him. But right now, that leading driver out of sight and out of mind. Green flag laps, he's running hot laps time after time, just hitting his own marks, not have to worry about any other pressure. He knows he's the quickest right now, and he continues to act on as he comes around the apron. This time by Afton opts to stay on the track, doesn't use that apron, and he's going to set a 32.205 regardless. That time by for Thomas Bressi, it was a 32.222. But look at how fast Don Stevenson is, and Don's going to be already up in the third, and just like that, Don Stevenson's got a shot. New tires working out better for him than anyone else, and already trying to poke the bear and make it by Bressi as the 24 machine now going to see pressure from new tires for the first time. Look how quick it is for Stevenson to make that move, go down low, and through turns 1 and 2, he'll run away like it was nothing. As they go through the corners, Don Stevenson with that amplified grip, going to be able to take it by Bressi quite easily, get the clear. Not the best of drives down low, of course, with Bressi right up top on him. You can't do all too much. However, it's still going to work out quite well, as just like that, the number 47 machine makes it by for another position, take through yet again. Alec Daffin going to lead the way right now, 29 laps in, but that might not come to pass any longer, as Don Stevenson is now 0.4 of a second away and gaining even more, 30 laps in at a 140. Don Stevenson making more and more time as it stands in the Bluegrass 200, leading the way. Alec Daffin's been the only man to lead laps all night long, but the way things are going, that is bound to change. Tire strategy in play for the very first time tonight gives Donnie a chance to go through and get some spots, and with Stevenson, the number 47, all the way up to second already, he's going to try to drop it down low, get that run in the turns 1 and 2, and make the move from there on out. Stevenson down low this time by's got a shot, and he will go for it. And just like that, back bumper is going to be full of Alec Daffin. New race leader, Don Stevenson, gets it through. Now with a new man on top, Don Stevenson finds himself advantageous coming through this time by 31 laps in at 140, new race leader. Then you're going to see your top playoff spoiler is Nick Tarbuck on the same strategy. So Nick is set to get into the top 2. If he can follow in the footsteps of Don Stevenson, it'll be almost a given. However, right now, I'm going to be having a bit more trouble running as quick because Stevenson is several tenths of a second faster lap after lap, making substantial gains each and every time around. He is like a jet right now, 0.6 of a second advantage over Alec Daffin already, just a lap and a half ahead after, of course, the pass. And now you see Stevenson making time in every sector of the track. And with such a huge advantage right now, the lead battle going to be nearly an open shut scenario. You'll see a few more enticing battles in the back of the field. Casey Shue lets Adam Wood by, and for the first time all season long, Adam Wood finds himself inside the top 10, and not a bad way to return, not in the slightest. Great work so far from Adam Wood to make up time, and now put himself in a good spot for a great opening finish. Adam Wood that time by going to push himself through, and 33 laps in, it's going to be the top 10 rounded out by the number 45 machine. Casey Shue going to be 11th right now, and you'll see Forrest Smith also going forward. So Smith trying to make something happen. He gets by Casey as well, and it's going to be now Adam Wood in the single digits, and Forrest Smith taking another spot as Casey continues to fight, but not much more can be done. However, it looks like now side by side, dead even, and Forrest Smith gives it right back. It's going to be toss and turn, tug of war, and the 4 machine opts to let that one slide in terms of Adam Wood, but he's not going to get it up to Forrest Smith, and just like that, the 213 Simware machines run in tandem yet again. Look further back, and you're also going to see Kyle Cooper in the number 73 fighting with Brandon Bernhardt. They're going to be neck and neck as well. Bernhardt going to stay up top on the second groove, seeing Gael Brooks come into play, and for Brooks, number 71 machine, one of those underdog drivers inside of our clash picture. However, I wouldn't expect for this number 71 machine to fade out without it being noticeable. I'll tell you this much right now, for this 71 of Gael Brooks, improvements have been made all year long, and there's been multiple strong examples of the performance that Gael can pull out on a good night if it all goes in his favor. 3 wide of the stripe that time by will put Brooks into 13th, and with some top 3 running, Notably, his very first podium coming at Monza as of recent. This number 71 crew is going to keep proving there's a lot more in the tank than what's been seen. And I'll tell you this much, with how fierce the competition is, I tell you this much, indeed, there's going to be a lot of chances if you keep it straight and keep it up ahead. Track position means an awful lot right now, and if you have it, it's a big advantage as Adam Wood goes right down low to the bottom side with Casey Shue. Shane Ewing right there as well, and if Shane gets past, they'll move Adam Wood up into 8th. As that number 45 machine drops it down low, tries to use that grip strip, but Shane's got the much better line, and he's going to ride it right up there. So nice ride there for the 32, using that middle line as an advantage, and it's going to work out much better in this instance, as opposed to the opportunity that Adam Wood tried to take. It was a good shot, but just wasn't able to finish it off. And now 37 laps in, Nick Tarbuck and Cody Smith also going to battle. Let's watch on board with the number 29 here for a lap and see what's going on. And at the line right then and there for Nick Tarbuck, the number 29 machine, 39 laps in of 140. I see a lap chasing down Cody Smith. And these two drivers keeping each other in very close tabs. I'll tell you this much, keep an eye out for the both of them. They had a thrilling finish at Nashville. They've raced each other before, not only on Monday nights, but on Tuesday nights as well. They got history, and I don't think they're happy with each other about how Nashville went down, but I don't think it's bad history necessarily. They're just often around each other, given their level of ability in this field. They're constantly up there, top 5, top 10 running. And while Nick Tarbuck is not eligible for the championship this season, no doubt the way Cody Smith has been one of the better playoff spoilers in the Octane Series, it's now up to Nick Tarbuck to play that role here in the Ignite Series, running in 5th right now. And for all the drivers marked in red on your screen, it's the red and black number 29, running the best of which, hoping to spoil the chances of your championship hopeful. Now it's going to be a pit stop cycle on the way. One driver went down to pit road, and notably, that looked to be unexpected and unscheduled for Smith, and that it was. Smith pulled it down, pulled it in. That was his night. So Forrest Smith going to be out of the way, and the stadium lights have turned on. So Don Stevenson now going to see the night sky continue to fade away. He's got lights. He won't have to worry about visibility, but now has to worry about how different the conditions will be from this point to the last. And right now, lap after lap, getting even closer to that final destination. 41 laps in out of 140. There's still a lot of time on the table, but you gotta understand this. If there's this much time, how much is it going to change from point A to point B? There's still just about 99 laps left, and right now Alan Dobbs takes it way down low. Dobbs makes it down to pit road, and hopefully he doesn't opt to retire as well. He'll come down to pit road for his first competitive pit stop, and as we saw with Forrest Smith, it could be a retirement, could choose to end the night, but it looks like Dobbs misses the stall slightly, backs up once, twice, and now gets service going. Michael Stroll also on pit road as well, as the ailing Jacob Fife going to get passed now for a lap by Don Stevenson. And Jacob Fife is not doing good at all tonight. He is 1 lap down, and that's on pace. And Jacob Fife is a quick driver here in the Ignite Series and the Octane Series as well, consistently up in front, but this is not a good night at all, and you'll see that right side damage, which exacerbates the problem. Take a look at a close-up drone shot here, and you'll see a bit more. Jacob Fife, it's about as bad as it can get right now for the number 36. Hits the wall once again, up and down the track. And even though Fife has been a perennial front runner, it looks like right now, with all that damage accumulating, it's only going to get worse as time progresses. 44 laps in at a 140. Thomas Bressie slides and slides deep as the 24 tries to take another spot from the lapper. He'll do so with ease. I mean, no fight's going to be put up right now by Jacob Fife. He knows his circumstance, and he understands really nothing more you can do but keep on limping around the track track and hope to score some bonus points as Nick Tarbuck makes it around as well. Drivers getting into a good rhythm. Now the only hope is that Jacob Fife doesn't interfere with the guys up ahead. No reason to insist, of course, upon fighting there if you're the 36. Just keep on running as Shane Ealing drops it down to pit road. Another pit stop in at 44 laps in a 140. Estimated pit stop windows within 45 to 55 laps, and some drivers might be able to stretch it up into the 60s if they choose to do so. Rayovac 32 is in this time by, just like that, another driver's in, as Don Stevenson won't have to worry about it for 20-some laps. The few who opted to stay out, they'll have to come in very soon. Thomas Bressie, Daffin, they're both on the podium, and they came in never so far, so it's a bit of a redundant statement there. However, it does still play into the point that they've got to come into pit road first, and the rest of the drivers who have taken their first pit stop on the night have a little more leeway, but not all too much as well, to play with until the job is done. Closest battle of the racing circuit right now. I'm going to go way back throughout the field, and you'll see it's going to be Kyle Cooper and now Tyler Hensley. Hensley going to find himself only about a tenth of a second ahead right now to 73, and these two drivers keeping each other company in the middle of the field. Now they're being cycled a bit further up front. This is the battle as it stands for the 9th position. It's going to be right now Hensley in 9th, Kyle Cooper in 10th, and Gael Brooks in 11th here. So there's going to be some big changes all throughout the picture as many drivers have opted to come down to pit road either for damage, retirement, or pit service. Some drivers running a different strategy as well, so keep that in mind as Casey Shue going to come down to pit road this time by. Shue is in and going to follow Bressie, and not to mention there's going to be Matthew Thunors. Looks like it's going to be Cody Smith as well. Now multiple drivers come in at once, and a big run to pit road is prominent. Front runners making it at the same time. Don Stevenson leads the way, and Alec Daffin, of all the drivers still on the track right now, is set to go in next and make his stop down at pit road this time by, if not, and it looks like it will be, the next lap around. 48 machine for Shaw Racing, and they've been running its second right now, 48 laps in of 140, and right now for Alec Daffin, best he's run all throughout the year, convincingly top 3 on pace throughout the opening stages of this night, and he'll need a lot more of that throughout the clash to get him somewhere in the championship picture. Of course, Daffin's had a lot of speed, and we've seen it before, particularly we saw it last season in the previous clash. However, at the same time, Daffin has not been able to capitalize on those speed with frequent mistakes, and those speedy nights don't always come to fruition for Daffin. He'd love to get a bit more out of them, and he knows he could, but just has to find a way to capitalize when it matters the most. Ackley going to come down to pit road this time by, and the number 22 machine is down in, makes that stop, and comes in through. Rob Ackley's in, and just like that, the number 22 machine makes his first competitive pit stop, 49 in, alone on pit road, at least for now, as Don Stevenson opts to stay out, and looks like right now, so does Alec Daffin. Halfway through the first 100, it's 50 laps in of 140, and the final stretch is, of course, after that triple-digit marker. Pit road sees Ackley still there, Michael Stroll, and Jacob Fife once again. This will put Jacob Fife 2 laps down, if not 3. And not a good way to put it all, as Jacob Fife remains there on pit road. Rob Ackley at least gets on the way, and Ackley's now going to find himself 1 lap down, 19th, and nearly the final driver on the board here who's still on cycle with the leaders. And that's a huge deficit of time to be losing. As you can see, it looks like now Daffin all of a sudden is within half a second of Don Stevenson. And Stevenson, burning up his stuff, gives a shot for Alec once again. That time by convincingly quicker, and it's been the past few times that Alec's made up distance. Just like that, Alec Daffin's got a shot, and he's been running long, hoping for this chance to come right back to him. It looks like it just might be. Now, looks like we're going to lose our voice there, and to tell you this much, for Alec Daffin on the Shaw Racing number 48, he takes our breath away in that moment as it looks like he'll come down to pit road. Now, Daffin makes it in this time by, and 52 laps in, multiple drivers come in as well, and you'll see Boomer Logan, Thomas Bressie, Gael Brooks. Pit road once again sees another front runner come in, with Stevenson opting to stay out in front 39 laps in. Pit cycles are all but over for the drivers who ran on the first strategy. Now the second strategy is coming through. Next up on the agenda, and with Alec Daffin coming in, is now going to signal for Don Stevenson and the rest of the field. If you're still out on the track, there's a pit stop to be made within the next 20 laps. see how alone Don Stevenson is right now. The next best driver right now on the track is Nick Tarbuck, 2.5 seconds behind in that runner-up spot, and currently finds himself there in second after the pit cycle brings all the older drivers down on the pit road. The older tire drivers, should we say. It's going to give Nick a chance to be up there in the podium, running laps up in front, and 54 laps in at a 140, making it so far so cleanly. He's been great for the number 29, looking to get back in victory lane as Boomer Logan goes 3 wide there with Gael Brooks and the lap machine of Matthew Thunhorst. Matthew, faster than the both of them, gets by convincingly, and even though Thunhorst is not on that lead lap right now, setting himself up for another opportunity in the near future as he hopes to get himself unlapped in the time being. Of course, number 8 machine came down to pit road on the original strategy. Then from there, we're also going to see the drivers such as the 24 Abresi, not to mention guys like Shane Eman, Cody Smith, Casey Shue, Rob Ackley, so on and so forth, also getting their laps back. There was Cody Smith going right there by Gael Brooks as Boomer Logan fights for a top 5 spot. 5th place right now, rounds out that top 5 and keeps keeping them up. That's how it's been. Keep on keeping on for the driver, the number 94, and keeping it in 4th has been the best case scenario, getting those extra laps with the best who are still out there. However, right now, those new tires are convincingly quicker once again, and you'll see gunning down the back straightaway. Shane Eman's going to take it down way low. Rayovac, number 32, drops to the bottom, finds himself there as Gael Brooks is going to be in 5th, Adam Wood is going to be 6th, and Jonathan Giervon is in 7th. Brandon Bernhardt's 8th, and Andrew Schaub is in 9th right now. Andrew not having a day we've mentioned all too much, but for this number 55 team, running up front, not a bad place to be, even when it comes to the pit cycle. So Andrew Schaub getting the advantage, of course, running it long and hoping to keep himself to some top 10 airtime as the number 55, newer edition this season, making that time up and getting some experience, hoping to make a better run in 2024, finds himself in the 9th position, just ahead of Chad Mikas, who rounds out the top 10, and Alan Rawell, the final man on the lead lap, scored an 11th here. Eventually, when he comes down to pit road, he's most likely going to be cycled back 1 lap as Don Stevenson makes it around as nearly 1 lap up to him. Adam Wood now sees Casey Shue going right by him. And so far, so good for the return night of Adam Wood, this number 45 team. The Kentucky Speedway backstretch and all the track have been treating this number 45 well, running up in 6th right now from a low of under the 20th position. And Adam Wood is going to look to come down to pit road this time by and kick off the next cycle. Wood comes in, being the first of those to try and make it in this time by. And with Adam Wood opting to make that call, he's going to undercut the rest of his contemporaries and try to do something different to secure his chance at a race win or a solid finish overall in the near future. Don Stevenson's going to see Thomas Bressi fly by like a jet here and gets back his lead lap with ease. His lead lap status now 12th place and only a total of just about 30.6 seconds away from your leading man. Now Alan Rawell's in jeopardy of going the other way right now. He's 25 seconds off, and slowly but surely you'll see guys like Bressi and Matthew Thunhorst creeping up there, and Bressi's right in the picture, so is Don Stevenson. So one driver might end up lapped throughout this cycle. A few other guys might get a bit luckier, but 60 laps in, we'll see who gets lucky and who really does not. Adam Wood to pit road this time by, now going to get back on the way. He finds himself 20th on the scoreboard and 1 lap down as the cycle gets back in motion. Adam Wood, the first man in, and now the rest of the field is going to follow in his footsteps eventually at least one more time. Going to be one more pit stop for every driver, no matter when they have to come in. As these all finally play out, these final few laps, we're going to find out who's got the best strategy. Of course, it's a game of give and take. Some drivers often take it early. Some drivers often give themselves a bit more time on the track. And that back and forth is going to really tell who's going to be that best driver in the final laps. Now, right now, we don't have a really certain read of which strategy is the best to lead right now, as it's been up and down because of how different the timing is. So right now, the guys who are leading on the lead lap are on the newer strategy. However, drivers who came down to pit road and had those newer tires who are faster are currently 1 lap down for the most part. So even though that's the case, they are going to be able to get back up there with the leaders once again. It's very tricky to really call who's going to be the best and who is not going to be the best in the later stages, because right now we're still sorting out our first full green flag pit run. A lot of drivers came in, but we still have a ways to go here. At 49 laps on the stint for Don Stevenson, he's running this one long, longest for any driver on the initial stint was 55. So right now, 49 laps in, heading to 50 next time by. For Stevenson, he's going to run it longer than almost everyone else in the first run, let alone the second here, as almost everyone else keeps him honest and keeps on a 50-lap strategy, if not more. Now, Cody Smith going to go down to the inside line, trying to make something happen. Number 18 machine looks to get his lap back, and that he will at the line. Number 18 machine's going to have a slight disadvantage with going through 1 and 2. Not for long, Cody Smith back on the lead lap and scored in 14th as Alan Rawell goes 1 lap down and fades back at the same time. So Rawell is going to drop back to 14th with some pressure more from other lap machines who are chasing down the leader. Just like that, 50 laps in on the run, Don Stevenson's got it from up, down, and all around. The pressure is mounting, and 64 laps in, nearly halfway through our clash opener, looking to win, but at what cost? We'll find out what he can do this time by as he continues to stay on the track. Pit road only so far seeing one driver for the brand new strategy, Adam Wood. Also going to see Blake Gordon, as a matter of fact, but Gordon went in a bit before. He was in the middle of both strategies, and now it's going to be Adam Wood trying to make something happen here. And Thomas Bresci, you'll see how close the number 45 machine already is to that Exalta Chevrolet. I'll tell you this much, on the bottom right of your screen right now, we'll bring up your virtual reality perspective from Thomas Bresci to watch this battle, as you'll see a new tired number 45 try to take it by Bresci in a moment's notice. For Adam Wood, he's going to take it down to the bottom side here. Bresci with minor head movements looks to the left, knowing Wood is going to be there, sees him go by, and jets past easily with those new tires. Now, Thomas Bresci with a virtual reality headset. For him, it's as if he's inside the cockpit every race of the season, seeing it as if it is reality. And that difference in perspective sometimes brings the best out of a driver you might not see using a computer monitor to simulate your experience. Now, iRacing is flexible with all sorts of opportunities and options. Thomas Bresci, the go-to choice, has been most often to run that virtual reality headset each and every week, and it's been giving us some great camera angles and some great moments to look back on as Stevenson makes it through this time by 67 in out of 140. He's gonna have Nick Tarbuck right there in the back bumper, and Nick has gotten real close, and much like Alec Daffington in the final stages of their run, now it's gonna be the number 29 machine putting down that pressure with Kyle Cooper. Now just about 7 seconds back, it's gonna be a head-to-head battle. The number 29 machine looking to get back into victory lane as we ride on board with Don Stevenson. And hearing how much Don Stevenson is saving each and every lap, he's going to be clutching and coasting almost every time around. He's going to try to do that to maintain as much fuel in the tank as he possibly can. However, that time by, Nick Tarbuck nearly snatches the lead. Doesn't get it at the stripe, but has a chance to do so next time around, a chance he will act upon, as Alan Dobbs is going to send that number 47 right up high. 69 laps in at a 140. Very nice run so far for all your guys up ahead of the field. Most of your first pit stop cycle is complete. Now your second is back on the move, but Don Stevenson's going to get funneled out quickly here as he tries to save even more fuel. Formerly your leader by a wide margin, but now waiting for the long term here as he tries to make it a one-stop strategy for the rest of the race. 69 laps in on the lap 70. The halfway point is near and even nearer now as drivers cross the line yet again. Now, Nick Tarbuck's got a 1 second lead on the field, bringing through Alan Dobbs, Shane Ewing, not to mention Tyler Hensley, and in addition, Casey Shue, all looking to get back on the lead lap here. Nick Tarbuck tries to run away, but nothing more he can do. In a few laps' time, he'll know pit road is calling his name, and he'll drop down there, or else his race will, no matter what, be done for. At the line this time by, it's going to be the number 70 lap move on to 71 with 70 laps remaining, halfway down, halfway to go, and drivers are going to see that Nick Tarbuck's holding them up big time, so Dobbs right up high, tries to make something happen down the back straightaway, shoots up top, and brings a good majority of this bundle with them as the number 29 of Nick Tarbuck opts to stay low. Looks like Dobbs has the speed and brings him around. Shane Ewing gets in trouble, but otherwise most of the drivers make it just fine. Now just like that, Brandon Bernhardt comes in, so does Nick Tarbuck. John Stevenson does as well. Now, pit road gets busy again halfway through this one, and Cycle is back on the move, and it looks like your new race leader is going to be a who's who of drivers coming down to pit road. Gael Brooks is going to be the driver who inherits the race lead, and with 69 laps to go, nice way to get that top spot as Gael Brooks stays on the track and leads now lap number 72. And getting that chance to lead a lap up ahead right now in the dying laps. We've gotten through that first half. Everyone's in the rhythm, and pit stops have been busy right now, as you'll see drivers come in. Booner Logan, Kyle Cooper, Andrew Schaub, Jonathan Gearvon, all coming in this one together. And the Bluegrass 200 sees a multitude of drivers making it down to pit road and now getting back on the way. This second strategy now going to be clashing with the leaders of the first, name in particular Alec Daffin, who looks to now be the overall race leading driver by 9/10 of a second, and he is quick. Once again, Daffin up ahead, and looks like he's actually gaining more time on Thomas Bresci than anyone else. That time by was Bresci 3/10 of a second slower than the aforementioned Daffin, so Alec finds himself up ahead, and with 68 laps to go, that is no fluke. So how about this one for Alec Daffin? 73 laps in, adding 140, and I'll tell you this much right now, your top 10 goes as follows. Going to be Alec Daffin first, Thomas Bresci second, Matthew Thunder is going to be third, with Cody Smith fourth, and Tyler Hensley rounding out that top 5. Casey Shue going to be 6th right now, with Alan Dobbs in 7th, and Rob Ackley in 8th. Shane Ewing going to be 9th, and Nick Tarbuck is the final driver inside the top 10. For the number 18 machine of Cody Smith running right ahead of Tyler Hensley. Next Level Racing, as always, providing high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers since 2009. Tomorrow night, in the Octane Series, we crown a champion. Been waiting all throughout 2023 to do just that, and now we got a chance to do so prime time Tuesday night. And we'll find ourselves a winner of the Next Level Racing sim rig worth $2,000, given away not only for the Octane Series champion, but the Ignite Series year-long champion that comes at the end of this tour as well. So stick around. We'd love to have you watching to wrap off the 2023 tour in the Octane Series, brought to you by our premier partner in Next Level Racing. We'll return after a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at Next Level Racing, the official premier partner of the Integrity Racing League. Come back now with 63 laps remaining. The pit cycle just about concluded, and now Alec Daffin finds himself the race leader with 63 laps to go. For the viewers joining us for the first time tonight, we're back on our way here in the Kentucky Speedway, the Integrity Racing League, getting on their clash for the Ignite Series, a 5-race playoff format, and it starts tonight here with 140 laps of racing, and we've gotten through nearly 80 to this point so far. Great to have you all watching live on FTN. I've been your host so far throughout all the action, and if you haven't seen us so far on FTN, I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. Hope if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, you'll leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We're less than 10 subscribers away from the big 1,300, and we'd love to hit that before October ends and maybe move on to a goal of hitting 1,500 before the end of the year. Now, right now, we're not on pace for that, but you can make the difference and make it possible here in FTN. So click that like on the stream and subscribe to the channel, not only tonight here in the Integrity Racing League, but in the Schumacher Racing League, also live on FTN at the same time right about now. Of course, a classic FTN doubleheader on Monday night with 2 great races and the championship battle alive in both leagues. If you're watching here and now, though, in particular, you're seeing Alec Daffin up in front right now, and he's been able to make that strategy work out quite well. That time by 32.496 out of a 32.355 for Bressie. While Thomas was quicker that time through, Daffin was able to stretch that run, get himself an advantage, and at the line, he's quicker once again by nearly a full tenth. And tonight, Alec Daffin knew one thing. If he wanted to keep his championship hopes alive, he would need this win almost no matter what. Taking a look at our overall standings coming into this race, and you'll see how much of a desperation factor it was to get this one done. Alec Daffin comes in tonight dead even on the green. He's on the bubble to keep on going, so he can't settle for mediocrity or complacency. He has to be one of the best drivers night in, night out from this point onward for any chance at a championship, let alone a fair one. And to open up the playoffs, what could be a race win would be the best of circumstances for Alec as he finds himself there leading with 59 to go. Thomas Bressie in no jeopardy and nearly a round of 8 lock as it stands. With how good he's done all throughout the season, just has to keep things going. Same goes for Matthew Thunhorst, Cody Smith, and Tyler Hensley rounding out that top 5 as a playoff spoiler. And as we've said all night long, if the driver's labeled in red, they're not in a championship race. If they're labeled in orange, they still have a chance at the title. Now, with that being said, Chad Mikus, Michael Stroll, and Justin Morton, 3 championship contenders who have retired from this event. Now, Michael Stroll is actually on the track again after 40 minutes on pit road, so he's going to be back on the way. So Stroll is going to try to pick up some extra spots and get by guys like Smith and Chad Mikus. But you'll see his night, no matter what, going to be hampered by the substantial amount of damage there. Taking a look at that number 38 machine, almost unbelievable. He's back on the track to begin with, and he's actually making time. Look at Michael Stroll going that modified number 38, makes it by Alan Dobbs, and now tries to make it into the mix with another set of drivers right ahead. Michael Stroll is not going to be given up in the slightest, and you'll see determination all throughout this 38 crew to keep on going. Despite the setbacks, it's not done just yet, and even though he had that speed to immediately blow by Don Stevenson, you'll see the lack of motor really going to get back to him and bite him, as he'll have to stay a bit slower to keep the revs in check. Take a look on board right now with Michael Stroll to see how challenging it is to even keep this car on the road, let alone go quick. Right now for Michael Stroll, holding a steady wheel despite all of the damage. Power is going to be a bit lacking throughout the night for the remainder of this one. Some drivers getting up to speeds of 185 plus throughout the straightaways. Well, Michael Stroll that time by only able to make it up to 178. That's not a major difference, but if you look at the ailing Jacob Fife, not too far behind, he nearly gets up to 180 quickly before Michael Stroll can even get into turns 3 and 4. Taking it down the front straightaway will take a bit more of an accurate reading. Right now for 24th place Michael Stroll, who rushes across that front stretch, he'll get up to a speed of about 175 miles an hour. Jacob Fife gets up to 180 flat, and Jacob has damage as well. To put that in perspective, while Boomer Logan, a driver who does not have damage, took it in at 183 miles an hour. So that's a big difference right now. It might not look major, it might not sound major, but 10 miles an hour in every sector of the track, you cannot survive losing that much time. Thomas Bressie now is 2 seconds ahead of Thomas Bressie, is leading behind Alec Daffin, but ahead of Matthew Thunhorst, so he finds himself in a 2-second bubble. I'll tell you this much though, 87 laps in, and even though Thomas Bressie would love a chance to win, gotta feel good about continuing these secure points runs, keeping it consistent, keeping it out of trouble, keeping it out of the wall, what have you. If you can just keep yourself going without any major troubles for the rest of the season and get to that championship race, there's always a fair chance. For Thomas Bressie, while DJ Stagner won that inaugural championship, let it be known that it was only a 2-point deficit between DJ and Bressie that decided the overall title as they came through for the final laps in Charlotte. 200 miles. It was a huge difference. Of course, it was 300 at the end of the day, but those first 200 looked to be a walkaway for Stagner. Then Bressie came back, got things going, and it came down to the smallest of margins, and Bressie, while not able to get it done that season, proved that he will be back next year, next season as well, with the vengeance. And throughout 2023B, he's been exactly that driver. And Matthew Thunhorst, who, as we mentioned beforehand, was one of the best last season, also picking it up at the same pace. Matthew Thunhorst, much like Thomas Bressie, a fierce competitor all throughout the early stages of the clash last season. However, that big wreck at Pocono almost destroyed anyone's chances at winning, save for DJ Stagner. Stagner was able to run away with that huge advantage, playing things just right, and Thunderous now finds himself chasing an inaugural championship for his team as they hope to get it done in the Ignite Series. DJ Stagner getting it done for Swamp Motorsports, but JTM has not yet gotten it through, and with 51 laps to go, there's still a chance here to lock themselves in to the next round. Cody Smith going to be fourth right now, running very well on his own. So far, it looks like that old strategy holding its own very well, but Nick Tarbuck, I'll tell you this much, he might be 8 seconds behind your leader, but he's inside the top 5, so don't slouch in this number 29 machine, also running very well at the same time. He's doing things a bit different, but he's still making a very successful run of it as they come across the stripe yet again. 50 laps to go this time through, and Nick Tarbuck's number 29 machine rounds out the top 5 and keeps things going very well. One driver going to come down to pit road, though. That's going to be Shane Ewing, also coming in because he's on that older cycle and going to come through with 50 to go after a 45-lap run. This should be the final pit stop for the driver, the number 32, as he comes in this time around. The Rayovac Toyota Supra is down and in, and this signals the end of another run. Some drivers are going to have to consider already when they come down to pit road. Shane comes in after 46 laps. Daffin should be good to go at least half of the rest of the race's distance from where he began this stint. So he'll have maybe about 7 or so laps more to go, and that'll get him into the 42 lap to go range. So he'll be safe to go the rest of the way on his next and final pit stop. And the same will go for Bressie, Thunhorst, Cody Smith, and it might be the same for Nick Tarbuck, but the question is right now for the guys on the younger set of tire, what do they do to balance out the situation, knowing they're in a much different formula than the rest of the front runners up ahead. 21 laps ahead apiece. You'll see Don Stevenson going to be 6th, Tyler Hensley 7th, Rob Ackley 8th, Casey Shue getting 9th, and Boomer Logan rounds out that top 10. 48 laps to go, 93 laps in, and we find ourselves now seeing a fierce battle in the middle of the field once again. Let's ride on board right now with Alan Dobbs as he sees a side-by-side fight between Alan Rawell and Boomer Logan. Right now, watching that 0-5 machine of Alan Dobbs running inside the top 10, you see Boomer Logan right now running as well as he's been all throughout the season. We've mentioned it before throughout this campaign. Significant improvements for Boomer Logan and companies. It's now a perennial top 15 machine, if not a top 10 contender. And single digits right now for Boomer Logan. An outstanding achievement for this crew who had major struggles earlier in the year and now turning it around, becoming much more consistent, much more competitive. And Boomer Logan on his own cycle finds himself inside the top 10, running firmly there. And even though we see some guys like Cody Smith come in, it looks like it's still a very solid run on its own. First, take away the drivers who have already put themselves on pit road. Boomer Logan running very well as he'll see some competitors ahead opt to come in. Thomas Bressie takes Matthew Thunhorst this time by 47 laps into their run with 45 laps remaining, so he's going to opt to come in a bit early. As a matter of fact, Matthew Thunhorst does too. Drivers who are playing it safe right now, knowing they can make it the rest of the way. Alec Daffin knows he's going to try to stretch it a bit further, and there's a good reason in two senses. Not only, of course, because of the tires, which we mentioned, you want to keep those younger tires later in the day. You'll go one lap later to get a bit more out of it in the final laps, but also the less fuel you have to put in, the faster your pit stop might be. And well, the difference right now might be minute for the drivers like Nick Tarbuck or Don Stevenson up ahead right now. They'll be able to get that advantage more than anyone else with 44 laps remaining. 44 laps to go this time by here in the Bluegrass 200, and Kentucky Speedway is giving us some long strategic racing after early troubles. One caution has brought us to this point, and we've gotten some great racing since then. The final stretch ahead of us this time by Rob Ackley and Adam are also going to come in. Adam Wood, to be exact, makes it through pit road while Rob Ackley enters, and Alec Daffin now gets on the roll. Number 48 machine puts it back into gear and back into motion. His Chevy Camaro now gets loose and drives back out there right behind Stevenson and Nick Tarbuck. Now pit stop on average is about 45 seconds, so being about 40 odd seconds back is not at all a bad thing, as Nick Tarbuck is only a few seconds ahead of Don Stevenson, and for Alec Daffin, he's only about, I'll say, 5 or 6 further seconds back. back. So with that being said, adding of course the slow down to enter pit road, the slow down to exit pit road, he's firmly still in the range to catch them back with newer tires when it's all said and done. So 42 laps to go. Do not shy away if you're Alec Daffin or an Alec Daffin fan. It's far from complete, and there's still a firm chance at victory as Cody Smith now finds himself the cycle leader and finds himself there 4 laps in to his run, but he's got the older tire that might not be good enough in the long haul as Alec Daffin begins to chase him down. Gap of half a second right now, 5/10 with 42 laps to go. That's the way they remain. 6 drivers opt to stay out right now. Jonathan Giron 6th, Kyle Cooper 5th, Gael Brooks is in 4th, and Boomer Logan's 3rd. And your podium's going to comprise, of course, of Logan, Don Stevenson, and your leading man of Nick Tarbuck. 100 laps in this time by. How's about we take a lap on board with the number 29 machine of Nick Tarbuck, leading him through now with 41 laps remaining. And watching right now, still on board with Nick Tarbuck, this number 29 machine runs firmly as a race leader by 2 flat seconds. Clean skies ahead as drivers continue to pull down a pit road. Boomer Logan makes it in this time by, and Logan, after a 29-lap stint, comes in just a bit early here and opts to take it in a bit before any of his competitors on the same strategy. Logan in this time by, 102 laps in, marks the beginning of the end for this tire strategy that's ran a bit longer. And now, Daffin's going to go by, get his lap back, and just like that, Alex going to find himself in a great spot to go the rest of the way and maybe get back in the leading spot before all is said and done after all. 38 laps to go, and the 4 drivers up ahead right now have to pit. Alec Daffin does not have to. He'll be good to go to the end as Kyle Cooper comes down to pit road, makes it in. His pit entry going to be quick, satisfactory, but with how far behind he is, he'll lose a lap and several spots immediately as Daffin takes it by and finds himself now up ahead, 4th place, and now Cody Smith there in 5th. And speaking of Cody Smith, going to see already a battle there with Thomas Bresci. Thomas goes way down low, finds himself now in the top 5 positions, getting it right by Cody Smith as soon as we mentioned the both of them. The 24 takes the spot, and Cody Smith gives that spot right away. 37 laps to go in the Bluegrass 200, and Thomas Bresci makes some extra time, makes up an extra spot, but is still 11 seconds away. Alec Daffin is from Gael Brooks, but Thomas Bresci is 1.6 seconds off from Alec Daffin. So it's a big gap as it stands, unless Thomas Bresci is clearly quicker, which he is not. There's a slim chance, if any, to catch up that number 48 machine. It's had just about the perfect night up ahead of the field, has led a majority of this race, starting on the front row, getting that top spot in qualifying, and now finds himself firmly in control strategically to go all the way. Just needs to make sure he does not make a mistake and executes on what's left on the table. Nick Tarbuck comes down to pit road this time by. When Nick makes it in, tires are not squealing. It's a calm entry, and a 29 is in this time by. Chevy Camaro up in front, and just like that, drops in a second. Gael Brooks opts to stay on the track. Now only 2 drivers remain. On those drivers who have stayed out a bit longer with that extra pit stop in mind, now only 2 drivers are left on the track. Alec Daffin is going to be now inside the podium and takes it around this time by, getting by that number 29 of Nick Tarbuck. It's Gael Brooks, Don Stevenson, and they're carrying the banner up in front as Stevenson takes it around the line once again for lap 107. 35 laps in this stint. He's going to try to go as long as he possibly can and make that final quick pit stop to get back on the move. and trying to go for a last lap dash. Don Stevenson's going to hold out as much as he possibly can. Knowing the stakes of the situation, the best shot for him right now to win this race is to go long and maybe come down to pit road for a quicker stop as opposed to coming in early and getting back on cycle with the rest of your leaders. 34 laps to go this time by on a 36-lap run. Stevenson, no matter what, will be safe to go from this pit stop onward and should be able to settle in for a solid top 10 as he's one lap ahead of most of the field, but knows that as they come through the final few laps, he'll have to give away that lead spot and eventually possibly give away even more in the podium and in the top 5. And this time by, Stevenson drops down low, does not go to pit road though, with Alan Ronwell right up top, and will take him across the line once again with only 32 laps remaining. As always, lap 109 on FTN is brought to you as well by Tango Paints, the official graphic design partner and supplier of the Fireball Talks NASCAR team. For all FTN information regarding Tango Paints, check out Tango Paints on Twitter for prices you can't beat and paint schemes you can certainly not find anywhere else. Trusted iRacing designing since 2021. All paint schemes and liveries you need. Go to Tango Paints on Twitter for more information as we bring you a second promotional break courtesy of our friends at Tango Paints on Twitter. And returning now with 31 laps to go. This time by, it's going to be number 47 machine of Don Stevenson up ahead. Take a lap on board right now and see what's going on as he's chasing down the lap machine of Tyler Hensley. As you can see right now, Stevenson is trying to make an attempt to catch up to that number 46 machine, an attempt that is currently going in vain. And you can see right now, Stevenson continues to struggle, and despite the fact he's got that lead, he knows it's not going to work out all too much longer as 19 seconds behind and clawing back up more and more. Alec Daffin is faster and will eventually find himself in the top spot once again. A bit of a Kentucky ace, Alec Daffin is. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, last season in the Saturday Night Truck Series, he came home with a race victory at Kentucky and was able to get it done there, but it was not on a Saturday night, it was on a Thursday night, an emergency reschedule event, which locked Daffin in to the Final Four in Season 4 there. But this time by, Don Stevenson comes in and gives up what he has. Pit road for Don Stevenson this time by, and just like that, Alec Daffin will come around and take the lead with 28 laps remaining. New race leader, and Alec Daffin's now out in front and finds himself there in the Bluegrass 200, leading the way with 2 seconds to spare over Thomas Bressie. Gunner is going to be third, Cody Smith is fourth, and now Stevenson fades back big and will find himself dropping to the outer skirts of the top 10. Shane Ewing going to be coming back this time by and going to knock him out of the top 10. Alan Dobbs is going to make it by and even took Don Stevenson from 10th to 11th here. So Stevenson bleeding positioned very quickly, and now it's going to be up to Thomas Bressie to perhaps chase down this number 48 machine. It's unlikely now, as it looks like Daffin's got enough of a lead to hold on for the end of the night if all goes well. And as we say that all goes well, not a guarantee. We've seen some late race yellow flags that have changed the big moments in races, made them that much bigger. Shane Ewing that time by, going to try to chase down Casey Shue, stays there in the 9th spot. Shue right there, still in 8th. 115 laps to go. Of course, comes down to it. It's 26 to go, 115 in. And Alec Daffin sees Kyle Cooper in the rearview mirror, but sees not much of Thomas Bressie as Thomas remains further back and hopes to keep things going here in the Bluegrass 200. With time running out, Daffin continues to lead the way. He's been dominant all night long. But is it lights out just yet? We'll find out what he's got left with a quarter of 100 remaining as he comes to the line this time by to lead yet another lap. Kyle Cooper drops down to the inside line. Not much more he can do here. He's a lap machine. 1 lap down, set to get the lead lap back here and now. And he does so, and now the 73 machine finds himself 14th back with the leaders. Chasing down Adam Wood just a few seconds ahead. Blake Gordon going to be right there with him, but Blake is several laps down, 2 laps down to be exact, so not much more Blake Gordon can expect of the night, while Adam Wood on his return has ran very well and hopes to keep impressing as the remainder of the season goes on. Up in front, Daffin's going to continue leading with a very close battle not too far behind. Don Stevenson, Alan Dobbs already battling, and Don's going to take it down low with new tires on rails right now. Another spot made up, and the number 47 machine not done just yet. Don Stevenson drops it down to the bottom side here in the tri-oval. It looks to get by Tyler Hensley or Brandon Bernhardt at the same time. You saw he had forced that number 46 of Hensley in his sights earlier. Not any longer. Now it's Brandon Bernhardt. And just like that, gets by the 81 quickly as well. And now 23 laps to go this time by for Alec Daffin leading the way. And as always, with 22 laps to go in FTN, we crank it up with the highest quality iRacing camera partners on the market, TrackCams22.com. With over 100 car and track combinations available, check out TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com/TrackCams for all their camera options if you're a broadcaster or cinematographer, as we're going to crank it up with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And with 16 laps remaining, Alec Daffin finds himself still up ahead of the field, finding himself there advantageous. So far, so good with 16 laps left. And I'll tell you this much right now, 2 seconds still separate he and Thomas Bressi. No major changes, and your lead deficit stays the same. Bressy's still going to be a constant of 2 seconds back. Matthew Thunder's 2 seconds further back in your second place man. And right now, Nick Tarbuck going to be right there as well. 2.5 way back for the number 29 machine of Tarbuck in the frame with an ever hard charging Cody Smith, a tenth and a half. That's what separates those two, but otherwise very far distances for a majority of the field. Now there's going to be a battle between Gael Brooks and Kyle Cooper. This is for 14th, and Brooks gets the lunge on the higher side, just a bit enough to make it happen, and that small bit of momentum will carry him through. Now give a shot at Adam Wood on the bottom side, going for a 2-for-1 in the straightaway here. Gael Brooks makes the lunge, takes it deep, and just like that, Brooks on new tires is making up time and making it up fast. Same goes for Don Stevenson. Stevenson's already up to 7th, and he's chasing down Tyler Hensley once again. But despite the fact that Don lost almost all he had earlier in the going, it still could be a very successful night for the 47, and it could just be a top 5 finish if all goes well. That's still in the cards right now with 14 to go. Cody Smith fades back big there on Nick Tarbuck and now finds himself about a second away, so not much more we can do right there as Kyle Cooper continues to battle here with Adam Wood, and Gael Brooks begins to drive away even further. 13 laps to go this time by, and Alec Daffin continues to lead down the backstretch, having that advantage. A majority of the drivers that registered for this race are still going. However, as it stands, only 15 drivers are left on the lead lap. 128 laps in out of 140. Bressi going to be second, Thunder is going to be third, and Nick Tarbuck then going to be fourth. Top 5 rounded out by Cody Smith and Tyler Hensley then in 6th. So a lot of guys, a mix now between your championship contenders and some of those playoff spoilers. As we mentioned, Nick Tarbuck still the highest running of all those who was not eligible for the championship, with Tyler Hensley in 6th, Casey Shue 9th, Shane Ewing there in 10th as well. So some of these guys are breaking through, getting good runs. Even if they're marked in red, they can still race for a win. They can still race up in front, and we've seen already they've led some laps, and even though you're not in the championship contention, there's still a chance at a win no matter where we go. And now with 11 laps remaining, Alec Daffin is on the verge of breaking through what would be his first career Ignite Series win, and trying to pull it all together in the final stretch here as they come down the back straightaway, clearly ahead of Thomas Bressi. But that time by, Thomas did gain about half a tenth. Not major by any means, but it could be enough to begin compounding. Give Bressi a shot as they'll come around this time by with 10 laps to go. This time by for Alec Daffin up ahead of the field, with Daffin leading, Thomas Bressi second, Matthew Thunder was third, Nick Tarbuck fourth, and Cody Smith rounding out that top 5. We'll combine our final 2 Next Level Racing promotional breaks of the day to give you one to wrap it all off. 10 laps to go, and Next Level Racing provides high quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. Visit nextlevelracing.com for more information about the Integrity Racing League's premier partner, and we'll send you to one final promotional break courtesy of our friends at nextlevelracing.com. coming around this time by with 7 laps to go, working down to 6. Alec Daffin leads the way with Bressie second and Matthew Thunhorst then in third. Top 3 remains that way with Nick Tarbuck still in fourth, and the final few laps are just ahead of us here and now. And the Bluegrass 200 has been all about strategy. One caution to begin this one, but since then, hard-fought green flag racing that has taken us nearly flag to flag all throughout tonight's action here in Kentucky. Now, Nick Tarbuck going to see a bit more pressure right now from Cody Smith back behind him, but also putting the pressure on Matthew Thunhorst, and Thunhorst might lose a chance at the podium the way things are going. 5 laps to go. This time by, and we could see the top 3 taken away from Thunhorst. The way Nick Tarbuck's been driving, a playoff spoiler might make their way in the final stretch. Boomer Logan goes around. Yellow flag's gonna fly, and we are heading into overtime. And out of nowhere, this race will come down to a 2-lap shootout. And barely able to catch that one live. 2 drivers come around and come into each other with 4 laps to go now on the board. Overtime finish in a clean race, a remarkably clean event, and it comes down to a big accident at the end. And you'll see these 2 drivers going to hook each other up. Logan goes up there, and Dobbs gets pulverized as well. But there's no context to what happened there, so we'll take it back a bit further and try to find out the why in this situation, because surely that's not something that happens all too often without a reason. You'll see they're side by side racing each other, Logan and Dobbs, the 2 drivers involved in this one. And for Boomer Logan, he's one of the championship spoilers, but for Alan Dobbs, who was involved in the earlier caution today, he's been trying to make his way back up and claw through the field ever since then. And see Logan down low, tries to get that charge up on it, tries to drive up high, and nothing more that can be done because Logan goes around, and that's going to tag Dobbs, and they take each other out just like that. And for Alec Daffin, this is his worst nightmare. After all that he's done so far, now it comes down to this, and he's forced down a pit road to take it in this time by. Big change in strategy. Don Stevenson opts to stay out, not to mention Brandon Bernhardt, Kyle Cooper, and this is going to change the way this race has gone. Over 120 green flag laps, and now it comes down to a lottery on pit road for all intents and purposes to decide who has a chance to get a win and who really doesn't. Pit road exit camera going to be on your screen this time around. We'll see who comes out first as they come flying by. Nick Tarbuck gets the edge slightly over Alec Daffin. Then going to be Bressie, not to mention Matthew Thunhorst, Cody Smith, Tyler Hensley. Then going to be Casey Shoes, Rob Ackley, Shane Ewing, and then Gael Brooks. And now with the lottery back on the move, 3 laps to go. We got a little bit of time here under pacing, so I tell you this much, we'll bring you to a brief iRacing promotional break to give you a bit more information about a special offer in iRacing, the lowest discount prices to join iRacing in its entire history, 15 years of fun, and you got a chance to join today. So check out iRacing.com after this brief promotional message, and we'll give you a bit more info on how you can join the iRacing fun after tonight.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And come back now with 3 laps to go. The final few laps just ahead of us. And after a pit road lottery, Don Stevenson and Kyle Cooper opt to stay out on track. Not going down a pit road, hoping to go a bit longer tonight. The race has been extended for a green-white checkered overtime finish. 2 extra laps going to be put on the board for Stevenson and Cooper and the rest of the field. So now this race going to head into overtime territory. Now in iRacing, it goes as follows. If we get to the yellow flag in any circumstance before the white flag, the race is extended for up to 2 more attempts. This is the first. We have 3 attempts, so we'll use those up, and if we get to the 3rd attempt, the race ends no matter what flag comes out. The yellow flag comes out, that ends the race. The checkered flag comes out, that ends the race as well. If we get ourselves to a white flag this time by, that will end the race. That will be official. You have no turning back from that point. So this could be the final yellow flag. It could be the first of many. That remains to be seen as drivers go by. This time through, it's going to be Don Stevenson, Kyle Cooper, Nick Tarbuck, and Alec Daffin, your top 4. And for a lot of these drivers not expecting this outcome, this is what it all comes down to. And with 1 minute and a few seconds remaining and pacing, then we get a few more minutes of racing to round out the night. It's an overtime finish, and it's going to be just about as crazy as it gets. Championship tensions in mind. The championship race has only just begun, but for the guys who are marked in orange, they would love to win this race and lock themselves in for a chance at the title just a bit early. Don Stevenson going to lead the way this time by. He's going to be down low. He's got Kyle Cooper right up top, and as they go double file this time through, the pace car going to lead them in and let them get back to the show. 3 more miles, and we got ourselves a chance here to see a new race winner with guys like, of course, Stevenson right there, not to mention Kyle Cooper up in front. Alec Daffin, who was dominant all night long, will he let this race go right by him, or is there a bit more in the tank for Daffin as he hopes to come through for his first win in the most important moment? Come through this time by iRacing official pace car will drop in and let the field get right back into it. 2 laps to go here in overtime attempt number 1. Get back into racing here in Kentucky as the Bluegrass 200 goes to overtime finish. We're back on our way with Stevenson and Cooper getting the green. Don Stevenson gets the jump, but Alec Daffin is quick right behind him. Number 48 machine jets down to the bottom side, and Daffin's got a shot as the caution flies again. Yellow flag is out. Shane Ewan getting involved, and we're back under yellow for the second time. Second overtime attempt, that is. And now we'll take a look at what just happened as another overtime attempt brings us back into pacing, and we're going to wait a bit more to find out who's going to get it done and how it's all going to be done. So take a look at this once again with Shane Ewing in mind. Number 32 machine there with the number 81 of Brandon Bernhardt, middle of the field. Shane gets loose, drops down low, safety yellow, and it's going to be coming back up the track. That's what brings out the caution for the second time in 10 laps, and after a long green flag stint, we're now to overtime chaos. Overtime attempt number 2. Don Stevenson, Alec Daffin, they're the front row, and we got 3 laps remaining as it stands. And now it's an extra downtime here before the racing gets back on its way. We'll send you to a brief Fireball Talks nonstop before all is said and done. It's Stevenson, Daffin, Cooper, your top 3. And before all is going to get back on the move, we'll be right back with a brief promotional message from our associates here at FTN. We'll be right back and hope you enjoy the action as we'll make sure you don't miss a thing. Timing and scoring will still be on screen. The main feed is as well. And we'll be right back before the green flag flies once again.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This is has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
And coming back now with 2 laps left on the table. No other changes on pit road. No major rotation changes. Our order remains the same. No tire sets taken. This is it. Another chance to get overtime back on the move. Second overtime attempt. We hit the white flag. The race is official. Pace car gonna drop on the inside line yet again. Daffin makes up to the front row, and he will not be denied. Green flag flies with Stevenson down low and Daffin right up top. Dead even starts, and we're back on the way for 3 more miles. Alec Daffin going to be able to get that back straightaway run and bring Thomas Brescia right there with them. Don Stevenson struggling, but holds on right down low. And that turn 3 and 4 hesitation from Brescia might just be the losing move, but this number 24 machine has no quit. And with now 1 lap remaining, the final lap is in the air for Alec Daffin to hold off Brescia and the rest of the pack. 10th and a half separates your top 2 drivers, and the tensions are as high as they could possibly be. Daffin with the back straightaway you in mind has that advantage, but it's not major in the slightest. And Bressie looks down low, and for a chance at a lunge, he'll take it deep through turns 3 and 4. Not enough for the 24, and for Alec Daffin and Shaw Racing, Kentucky once again is his battleground. Alec Daffin pulls it through for a dominant win and will get it done for the Bluegrass 200. Kicking off the clash in style from barely pointing in to winning on debut, Alec Daffin will get it done from Kentucky. And for Daffin, it's the absolute perfect race he needs for his championship campaign. Bressie comes home with big points in second, and Nick Tarbuck rounds out the podium with Matthew Thunhorse making it up to fourth. A gutsy call from Don Stevenson gives him a top 5, and just like that, the clash is in full swing. Let's take a look at the results before we get our official burnout for the night, as Alec Daffin is set to celebrate, and for good reason. Daffin will get it done, and after 147 laps of action, it's Alec Daffin winning over Thomas Bressie in second, and then Nick Tarbuck in third. Going to be Matthew Thunhorse in fourth, and Don Stevenson in fifth, with Rob Ackley sixth, Casey Shue seventh, and Gael Brooks then in eighth. Going to be Adam Wood ninth, and Brandon Bernhardt in 10th, with Kyle Cooper 11th, Jonathan Giavon 12th, and Alan Dobbs 13th, as it's Cody Smith 14th, and Tyler Hensley position number 15. Then from there, going to be Andrew Schaub in 16th, and Blake Gordon 17th, with Shane Ewing 18th, Jacob Fife is going to be 19th, and Alan Rodwell rounds out the top 20 with Boomer Logan 21st, Michael Stroll 22nd, Chad Mike is 23rd, and Forrest Smith 24th. Justin Morton's going to be 25th, and Brian McFerrin rounds out the 26th driver field as Alec Daffin begins to burn down the house. And it looks like instead for Alec Daffin, going to take it around the track in reverse here for a Polish victory lap. The number 48 machine of Alec Daffin pulling through, and this victory means oh so much in terms of the championship picture. And now up there in the front of the points battle, a win that was much necessary comes to fruition. And just like that, it's Alec Daffin coming around the Kentucky Speedway to burn it down the front stretch all over again. And as Daffin makes it through, puts it back in gear, takes it right down low, a championship drive to keep him in the championship fight. Daffin will take it down in and park it after a hard-fought night in the Kentucky Speedway. Daffin at the start-finish line will then get back in motion and begin to burn down the house. And with a brief burnout in mind, it looks like he'll keep things going and continues to pound the pavement. Here, Alec Daffin will keep it through as the Shaw Racing number 48 keeps the celebration going. And with Alec Daffin now coming down a pit road after a hard-fought night, Kentucky Speedway comes through as his, once again, place of victory. Twice over on FTN, we've seen Alec Daffin dominate Kentucky, and he seems to have a knack for this track that most of the drivers don't seem to replicate. The Bluegrass State has played very well to Alec Daffin's favor after another incredible night of action. Daffin gets it done. Now, how about this one for the number 48 team? Does not look to be in any sort of broadcast booth right now, or waiting room, shall we say. So we'll get him in here and now for an interview to wrap off the night. Number 48 of Alec Daffin will win over Thomas Bressie and Nick Tarbuck. That is your podium after this one. And just like that, gonna be Daffin on top. Alec Daffman winning by 16/100ths of a second, and Thomas Bresci continuing his strong run, and Matthew Thunderston fourth as well. Big gains for the drivers who were inside the clash as it stands, and for Don Stevenson, as we mentioned, big call for him to stay inside the top 5. Rob Ackley sixth as well. Gael Brooks makes it up big time to 8th. Some surprise movers, some big decisions made that come down to a positive light, and for others, not so much. It was a gamble on strategy, and for dominance in Alec Daffin's mind, he didn't have to worry all too much about that riskiness. He kept things going as just about the quickest driver all night long. And we've seen this happen before at Kentucky, but Alec Daffman tonight, knowing the stakes in the championship picture, this was a do-or-die race for the team, even if you had a few races to settle things out. And just like that, winning for the first time in your Ignite Series career, Kentucky Speedway once again gives you a nice treatment, and you win the Bluegrass 200 all over again. How do you feel after this one?
That's definitely good. I mean, I'll admit this season has been a living hell in this league. I mean, over in the Saturday Night Trucks, it's been pretty good, but nothing's been right all season here, and barely made the playoffs. And I'll admit, if I didn't make the playoffs, I probably wouldn't have been here tonight, but barely snuck our way in, and we definitely made the most of it. Made a little mistake in qualifying, but still got the pole, and then more or less, in terms of lap slide, probably didn't dominate, but I mean, we were always right at the front there, and man, I was so pissed off when the caution came out at the end there, but I mean, we made it through the guys on old tires and held up Bresci at the end there. And I mean, I gotta say, Bresci ran a good race. I was probably the fastest car, but he was easily second best and almost had me at the end there. But we were able to execute on all accounts tonight and finish it off at the end. Finally, we finished one.
And execution, such a big deal now in the clash, and as you mentioned, barely pointing your way through. The reset gives you a bit more buffer, but still, tonight was a huge deal in terms of getting things done, so getting a lot of bonus points, pole position, leading the most laps, leading laps in general, and as they come around, of course, the checkered flag, you get it as yours. How was it with the strategy being largely decided under green flag, and even with the pit stops at the end, you were able to rebound?
Yeah, it was that caution around, lap 15 or something, I can't remember. But that caution kind of shook things up because you had guys like Stevenson and Terrebonne, they got tires, and then it looked like a lot of other guys stopped for fuel under the caution because I don't think anybody would be able to make it 70 laps on one tank. So, unfortunately, that cost us some stage points, which kind of sucked. But, you know what, in the end, we were still the best on the winning strategy and still got the win in the end. And next week, I mean, just as long as we finish top 10 next week, we should be good. I mean, definitely haven't clinched yet by any means necessary, but as long as we don't have a bad race next week, should be in pretty good points position. So.
And now looking toward the remainder of the clash here, getting this first win out the way is a big sigh of relief, but still, the battle is not even close to halfway over here. Still a remainder of the schedule that's going to be much more important with some stacked competition, so taking this victory and moving on to the rest of the season, what's it going to take to keep on improving and give yourself another chance at a race win or two as time goes on?
Yeah, the momentum's big. I knew if I made the playoffs, as I should, I figured I would. After last week, we ran fourth place all race, or we were set to finish fourth and got screwed once again. But at that point, it was hey, we still made the playoffs. We got all of our bad luck out of the way. So now we can go out and get some good finishes, and tonight was the best it could be. But yeah, obviously now we got some momentum for sure. And then I got some good tracks coming up. Obviously, Kentucky's one of my best. I always run good at Fontana, Martinsville, we got Phoenix. Homestead, I'll struggle at a little bit. But, I mean, all the other tracks in the playoffs are some of my best tracks. So they can just keep this momentum, our P's and Q's, and just run good races. I think we'll definitely be a contender for the championship. It's crazy considering how close we came to not making the playoffs despite running every race. But yeah, at this point, I mean, if we can just keep doing what we're doing, I think we'll definitely finish the season how it should have went all along. So yeah, we'll try to do that.
And now putting that momentum into motion in the most important time. The clash kicks off. Alec Daffin, you come home as a winner. Anything else you'd like to add after this race, Wick?
Yeah, obviously, I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Jacob Elkins for sponsoring for me tonight. Obviously, you probably see him in the Saturday Night Trucks. Earlier this week, he agreed to spot for me for the rest of the season. This is his second race, and yeah, he'll be there the rest of the season. Also, thank Shaw Racing Products. Thank you, Dave, for doing the broadcast as always, here and over on Saturdays as well. Thanks, Chevrolet. Got to thank all the admins in the Integrity Racing League. My Twitch viewers at AlecDaffin48. Thank my girlfriend for watching. I love you, honey. And yeah, I think that's it.
Alec Daffin pulling through in the clutch, gets it done in the Bluegrass 200, winning the opener here in the 2023 B Clash. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you, David.
Now, with Alec Daffin all the way, getting it done to the number 48, another solid run for Thomas Bresci. This 24 team has been can't stop, won't stop all throughout the season, and it stays that way with another podium finish after a thrilling double overtime conclusion. Thomas Bresci, second place on night. How do you feel after this?
Bumped I was that that close, but it was a good race. I mean, Alec was stupid fast all night, so congrats to him. He drove a great race. Yeah, just didn't quite have enough. That's all it was. Glad I saved a set of tires there at the end. We weren't really sure, how it was going to pan out with those guys, but we just didn't think that it was going to be. We figured it was going to end up working in our favor. Compared to the guys that stopped at that lap 12 or whatever it was, caution at the beginning. So, which I thought, at least for me, it was. I don't think those guys were going to get there, but yeah. Hey, at least it gave me a shot at it. Almost ran out of gas, so that was cool. That's what happened to Tyler because we had the autofill thing on, and then we had 2 green white checkers. So I was saving gas real bad under those yellows and praying we didn't get a 3rd green white checker. That would have been SOL probably, but yeah, car was good. Just didn't. I thought I was a little better during the daytime, honestly. And then that last run, I don't know if he just had a slow stop or was just really, really cautious because he had a gap to give up. I tried pushing to see if I could close in, and I was chipping away at it, and then I just had some kind of bad encounters with lap traffic. Just got stuck in the wrong lane for a corner or two or whatever, and it just cost me enough time. And I burnt the right front off, and then it started to come back to me, which was weird. And then I started catching him again at the end. I wasn't going to probably get there, but, and then cautions at the end. So, yeah, not a bad night. Can't be too disappointed with second. I guess, not a bad way to start the Clash at all. Obviously shout out to the JT Motorsports guys. Casey did a really awesome job getting the top 10 tonight. He drove a really great race. Tyler ran out of gas, but he had a good race going, and then hate it for Justin getting caught up in that huge wreck at the beginning. So, but not a bad night overall.
And certainly not a bad night to keep the good runs going. This team has had no shortage of success all season long, so second place isn't too much of a surprise. Of course, great running all throughout, and the strategy, for the most part, very simple as well. And we mentioned that Alec Daffin, largely green flag running, and you kept yourself within about 2 seconds range of the leader all throughout, and the overtime, as close as you were, still just about the same spot.
Yeah, it's just, I was missing a little bit. I think he was a little better than me down in 3 and 4. I think he was just kind of rolling the center a little bit better, and I needed a little bit more, and, I just didn't quite have it. But it was a good race. So just trying to get back into, that better form. I feel like I've been kind of hit or miss here lately. I mean, last week wasn't too great, obviously, with the wreck. 5 Flags was a cluster on my end. Sort of the same deal. And, I mean, started off the night right with, actually qualifying well. That helps. So, just got to keep trying to do that stuff, and looking forward to Auto Club next week. Think that should be good, and I know there's going to be a lot of guys in the Clash that are in a very interesting spot in the points because of the that big wreck at the beginning and whatnot. So we'll see how it pans out. Just trying to stay consistent here and get through to the last that round of 8, and then see what we can do to try to get this championship.
And of course, picking it up with a podium here to kick off the Clash in the round of 8 is, of course, the most important goal. Now, with a great regular season in mind, for this team, it's not much a worry about where you finish right now, as long as you keep it on the track and keep it clean. So is that really the mentality heading into our final round of the Clash here?
Yes and no. I mean, at the same time, there's been a lot of points in this season, though, no pun intended, where I've just given up points, halfway stuff. I mean, last week, I thought I was on a good strategy, got no halfway points. I was like, oh, it'll pan out at the end, and then got wrecked, and it didn't. So that was a pretty crummy points week. So just try to minimize some of that stuff, because there's been a few instances this year where I've kind of done that, which not overly happy about. So, obviously going into this, into the Clash with the bonus points from the wins, that's great. but I don't really want to rely on that, and I don't think we get bonus points for the round of 8. So definitely can't bank on them for the last 3 races. So just trying to be consistent, have runs like tonight, and put a whole race together where I'm not digging out of the hole to start with, things like that. So that's the goal right now. Just try to stay consistent.
And consistency will be key for this team, but with a great start of the Clash, certainly not much a worry. Thomas Bressi, second place in day here at the Kentucky Speedway. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just again, shout out to the JT Motorsports guys, series admins for all they've done, you for putting the broadcast on, and all of our series sponsors and partners that we have, and hopefully the folks that tuned in enjoy the race.
And Thomas Bressi posed through for another podium finish on the tour, finishing second here in Kentucky. Thank you for your time.
Take care, bud.
But Thomas Bressi on the move. One more driver here in our top 3 to speak to, and that will be our third place man, and the only in our top 3 who is a playoff spoiler. In this instance, it's going to be Nick Tarbuck and the number 29. The top 3 tonight has one of our playoff spoilers, and I'll tell you this much, this 29 team, the best of the bunch all night long. Coming off a very, very successful finish at Nashville, and you're keeping that good momentum going. How do you feel? Third place here after a hard-fought night in Kentucky.
Hey man, yeah, it feels great, honestly. I came in here with not much practice and haven't raced at Kentucky for a long time. So coming in here with really no expectations and able to figure it out throughout practice and qualify decently well. And the strategy throughout the race was going to be pretty interesting, going for a little overcut, undercut action, but it didn't really play out. Of course, no one could touch Staffen, but I might have been able to sweep my way into third, potentially. But yeah, man, it feels great. Honestly, it's a shame that we're out of the playoffs because of just missing a few races here and then for some real-life events that happened. But I'm here to show everybody in the broadcast and everybody in the league that I do deserve to be in the playoffs and that I'm going to be hanging around up front with the rest of the guys fighting for the actual championship. Just so I keep myself on their mind.
And still playing the big playoff spoiler on this one. I'll tell you this much, the pace with the best of them all night long. Now, overtime finish made it so everyone was close at the end, but we saw you ran a bit different on strategy throughout the entirety of this one. A lot of drivers opting to go in after the first caution. A few guys chose not to, and while the guys who chose to stay out at first were eventually on that winning strategy, you played it very well regardless of the choice you made. So how was it sort of adapting from the beginning and taking it all the way to the finish?
Yeah, it really was stopping there in that first caution for fuel really helped keep the car a little bit looser as the run went on, and it got darker and the track tightened up a little bit. So having a little bit extra fuel in the back helped the car rotate more, which helped me really keep up with even people like Don who took tires and fuel during that caution. I was able to catch back up and pass him. So as usual, it's just it's a matter of managing your tires. It's a matter of being smart with when you try to make passes and when you really push. But it was going to be really interesting because those last 2 runs, we cut them in half, and I was running them pretty much as hard as I could, without actually ruining my car. So that last run there, I was going to probably sneak into third if I was able to keep the speed up. But it was fun, man, because it made it so half of the race was kind of a take care of the tires type race, and then the other half of the race was just do qualifying lap after qualifying lap.
Keeping the long run pace, just hitting those marks lap after lap. And I'll tell you this much, top 3 here, but we're taking it to a much bigger track up next. Fontana, Auto Club for the second round of the Clash. Maybe there's a chance here to go back to victory lane with a lot of speed.
Oh, I think so. I love Auto Club. It's been a great track for me in the next-gen car. And I haven't run it much in this car, but I assume that it translates pretty much. I mean, it's really fast, sweeping corners. It's multi-groove. It's a great track. It's a shame they're taking it down in real life, but it's going to be a fun race next week, and I have high hopes for that one. Hopefully, I can spoil a few more playoff points.
And continuing the role as a playoff spoiler here in the Ignite Series, Nick Tarbuck with a third place finish in the Bluegrass 200. Anything else you'd like to add after this one?
No, I just want to say thank you for broadcasting. Thanks to the admins for putting on a good race. Thanks to everybody who watched. Thanks to my team for helping me out with the strategy there. And we'll go get them. We'll go get them next week.
And they're going to keep on pushing with successful races back to back. The 29 crew comes on third place in Kentucky. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
And with Nick Tarbuck on the move, your podium ceremony has concluded, and your top three goes once again as follows. Nick Tarbuck in third and Thomas Bresci in second, with Alec Daffin getting it done for his first career Ignite Series win. Tell you this much, a thrill tonight, and it was a great one to kick off the playoff hunt, but tomorrow in the Octane Series, we conclude the playoff hunt, and it's going to be the, well, Phoenix Raceway for over 150 laps to find our final four. Who's going to get into the championship? Who's going to get in the victory lane? All remains to be seen in our season finale tomorrow night, exclusively on FTN. So stick around there. We'd love to have you watching the Integrity Octane Series after thriller heat in the Ignite campaign. And as always, I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of tonight's action. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe. Your support is always greatly appreciated, and we hope to have you all watching whenever we're live again on FTN. From our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoy tonight's presentation of the Bluegrass 200, and we hope that you all have a fantastic night.